Hey y'all, hopefully you can hear me with this wind. It's insane here. Not as bad as the other day, but today we are going to try and finish up the beds. Fortunately, we still have about a month until our last frost, not our first frost. So we do have a little bit of time to get the beds finished, but I really want to get them done today because that's going to really open up the rest of the month for us to do a few other projects. So hopefully today we can get the beds done, and we need to do some mulching, and then hopefully we're going to get the electric fence up for the deer because they are just going to destroy everything that we plant come April 15th, 20th. Easter is kind of our safe date to plant, so we're going to try and get some of these beds done. So the garden is really ugly right now because we have to cover it for all the Bermuda, and the black tarping will probably be gone at some point. But for now, unfortunately, it is still here to stay. But so we have one bed, the one I just showed. So this bed we are going to fill, and this bed is going to be probably tomatoes and sunflowers. And back here, we're going to end up putting some raspberries and probably an asparagus bed. And so I really want the taller flowers right here for the asparagus. So hopefully we're going to get that bed filled and mulched today. I need to do a lot of mulching. And then over here we have the start of our new in-ground beds. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to do a really thin layer of compost. I have very heavy clay soil, and clay soil is really high in nutrients and it holds moisture really well. Those are some of the pros. It has some cons too, such as being very heavy. So we're going to cover it with a pretty thin layer of compost, probably no more than like an inch or two. And then we're going to cover it with some landscape fabric. Landscape fabric isn't my favorite, though unfortunately it is a requirement with the Bermuda. So we're going to try and get that done today. Okay, fortunately, I think we have completed our wheelbarrow portion of the day. We've got the bed mostly filled. There is going to be some settling, but I'm not really that concerned about it because I do not cover the bottom of my beds. So if any roots need to get into the soil beneath, they can. And also that allows for any of the microorganisms and all that in the bottom, in the actual soil beneath, to come up and be beneficial in our soil up here. So I'm gonna mulch, and then we're gonna move on over there. Oh my gosh, I need to mulch so bad. This wind. I like to use pine shavings as my mulch of choice. It's cheap, it's easy to get, and there's no weeds. But the wind has been so crazy. Oh my gosh, I have mulched almost every day for the past week. It's been insane. Hopefully we stop soon. If you get it wet on top, or you do it right before a rain, that really helps kind of hold it in place. I will turn on the overhead sprinkler just to kind of keep everything in place, but it is certainly not great for windstorms. So if you have access to something like leaves or straw without any seeds, those are definitely preferred options, but for now, for me, it's pine shavings. Okay, I came inside to check on the kids, and I'm just going to show you guys the dahlia tubers that I'm waking up. So this is really exciting. I've got some dahlia tubers here just in the kitchen. You don't need light for them to wake up, but we have, this one is Lauren Michelle, and these ones were from Swan Island Dahlias, and they came in kind of a moist peat moss, so they seem to be waking up a lot faster. This one over here, we have Randy Dawn, and then I have a lot more waking up. Look, we can see this one. Ooh, focus. This one is starting. You can see the little eyes. Oh, we have our platinum blonde starting to wake up. You see right there's an eye, and they will sprout, and I can just pull the sprout off and root it. I can root it right here if I wanted to, or I can get separate little containers for them, and they will root, and then we get a whole new dahlia. Well, not a new dahlia, the same dahlia. It's like cloning. It's great. You get free dahlias. So propagating dahlias via cuttings is actually really easy. They really are very, they root very readily. You can essentially take a cutting. You can take probably 4 or 5 from a tuber you're waking up, honestly. For these ones, I might just take 1 or 2 just because I started a little bit late. And I want to make sure that those cuttings have plenty of time to establish. So if I'm taking more than 1, they're not going to be established. But they will produce like a whole tuber set, this just the same as these tubers will. And at the end of the season, I can divide those, and I essentially will get multiple tubers for the price of 1, which is really exciting. Okay, the other day I didn't get a chance to show the completed beds that we were making. So I'm going to show those to you now. So this is all we got covered. We have a shorter bed that's going to be a perennial bed right here. And then these are primarily going to be annuals, though I do intend to interplant some native perennials, mostly for the pollinators. I don't want to have I really want to avoid a monocrop kind of culture in the garden. I want to bring in a lot of those beneficials and help support a lot of the pollinators in our environment. So that is going to be the goal. I don't love the landscape fabric. I don't love having to use it, but I'm going to come over here and show you why we have to use it. I'm prepping another bed over here, and so I thought it would be a really good opportunity to show you basically what the purpose of covering the Bermuda is. I want to disturb the soil as little as possible, and things like solarization, tillage, even sod removal, I'm not a huge fan of. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys what the product of covering, tarping your Bermuda and your lawn and all that can lead to. So this is an area of the garden that we have had tarped for several months now, and I'm going to go ahead and show you. So that right here, so this right here is kind of what our lawn generally looks like. You can see all over there too, the Bermuda and everything else. And then this is the result of several months of tarping and not allowing anything to photosynthesize. You can see here, you can see the Bermuda was really reaching for any type of sun, and you see how light green that is. That is the result of no photosynthesis. So basically my goal is to smother the Bermuda to death. It's not going to be done this year. It might not even be done next year, which is unfortunate because honestly, the tarping is so ugly. It's not a nice thing to look at, especially when I love nature. The whole point of the gardening and all of that is because I love the nature. I love the beauty of it. I love the greenery. And so it is really unfortunate, but it is going to be the best thing ultimately for the soil and all of that. So I'm going to prep a bed really quick, and I will show you the result of that after. Okay, so this is what we're looking like. I just spread a really thin layer. I'm talking like this much, not even, maybe an inch of compost over the soil. And that, if you didn't have Bermuda grass, honestly, you could probably just leave it like that and plant into it and then mulch and you'd be fine. But I have Bermuda grass, so we're going to be covering it with that landscape fabric and stapling it down, and then it'll be good to go. So I only use like a really thin layer of compost, and I would plant directly into the ground if I could, but unfortunately with the Bermuda there really is such a thick carpet that I need to cover it first, and then I'm going to put down the landscape fabric. And I still have a few weeks before my last frost, so the Bermuda is going to remain dormant underneath this, hopefully, and I'll only be having to pick out a little bit, and then once I get stuff planted and it's growing, it's not going to be as much of an issue, because the stuff that's growing in here will A, be native perennials, and B, they will act as a living mulch for the ground. And Bermuda's weakness is shade. Bermuda cannot thrive in shade. It cannot survive. It really can't. And I can show you underneath some of our trees, you can see where the Bermuda just stops dead in its tracks because it's too shaded. Okay, I'm sweating, but we have an almost Bermuda-proof bed. So we have our landscape fabric, and then the tarping is going around all sides. So the reason we do this is so that no Bermuda can come up and over. So when you're using just landscape fabric, like we have over there, and I'm gonna have to fix it over there too, but when you're using just landscape fabric, because they're meant for plants, the Bermuda will come up and over and then start rooting into your landscape fabric. And so you really have to get the corners too, the edges of all of your beds, and make sure that it is choked out. There is no light getting in. And on top of that too, when you're mowing your lawn, you really want to make sure, especially if you have like a zero turn or something like that where it's like blowing out and not catching it in the back, you really want to make sure that you're avoiding blowing any of the Bermuda cuttings onto your garden, because those will root too. So it's really a challenge. It really is. I'm not gonna lie, but there is a way. There is a way. I promise there's hope. Okay, I'm sweating, so I think we're gonna call it for today, and we're gonna go check on the kids inside, see how they're doing. Probably tonight we will come back out this evening and do some planting, because it is not a good day for planting, especially in the middle of the day. So we'll come back out this evening and probably do a little bit of transplanting of our cool annuals, and then maybe even get the trellis up for our sweet peas, because I see some of them are starting to put out vines. So, all right, see you guys later.